you also need support. Women have a possibility to share their feelings. Men keep so much inside. They don't share what's going on with them. So I want to talk a little bit about the pain points that men carry, which is a big one. And of course, I have the advantage of working with so many people over the years that I've collected a lot of data and what I've witnessed and seen, as well as working with men and what's happening with them from their internal states. So one of the things that is really big is around loneliness. Women have a possibility to share their feelings. Men keep so much inside. They don't share what's going on with them. They have learned to man up, so to speak. They have learned ways not to express how they're doing. They've learned ways to compartmentalize parts of what's going on inside of them. It has created an internal headspace that is really busy with holding back a lot and carrying a lot and not naming it. And by doing so, they isolate and they separate. And of course, then it ends up in situations where their inner world gets kind of cut off from the outer world. And that's why they start to feel lonely inside, because they don't ask for help. They don't ask for support in this domain. Yeah, maybe from the practical tool-oriented place, but from the inner place, a lot of men don't. And that isolation just creates more and more pain and more loneliness. Number 2 is around feelings. And men not allowing themselves to feel the full range of what's going on inside. And of course, when I speak about this, I'm not talking about all men. I'm talking about a lot of men, and I'm talking about a lot of data that I get to collect over these years of having worked with people. I noticed that they really split off from many things that they feel inside, and they've made not okay. But what they do by doing that is start to numbing out through work, some kind of addiction, whether it's drugs or alcohol or even pornography, something that takes them away from having to feel what's going on inside. A big one for men is to be able to feel, to give permission to what it is they're feeling. And number 3 is around contact. Growing up, when you're a little boy, you're able to hug mom and dad. And then as you become more of a teenager and into adulthood, hugging in that way becomes less and less. If you're in disconnect with your partner or you don't have a partner, then there's very little or no hugging. And men hug, yeah, pat, 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 but it's really kind of like, yeah. It's a very short, kind of manly hug, but it's not an embrace. It's not really hugging. Like when women hug, women just hug and they squeeze, and for a moment there's a feeling of support and connection. So what's missing in the man's nervous system is to be able to really feel that support and connection, not this quick, pat on the back, but to really be held. And if that's not coming from his partner, or he doesn't have a partner, then contact is missing. And the nervous system is really wired for contact. It creates a feeling of support and connection. So it's really important for men to get contact. Sadly, the way our society is set up and conditioning, men are not really meant to really be held and be supported in that way. But it is essential to all of us. Number 4 is the conditioning around men having to be strong and provide and be the best. And if you're not, you're somehow not competent or capable, or there's something wrong with you, or you're not enough. And that messaging gets passed down, sadly, generation after generation, and it creates a pressure on men, which in a way is being reinforced by our society today, that you have to be the provider, you have to be the strong one, you have to hold the whole family. Yes, I have to be there, which is wonderful in one way, and in another way, it kind of misses you in that, meaning you also need support. You also need to be part of being held in that. And I know we get a lot out of giving. And if you're watching this and you're challenged in receiving, then I would really highly recommend looking at this conditioning that we have in the world today about, I have to be this, because it creates a certain internal state inside of you that can also be protective to your family, but also in protection towards letting someone really in and being vulnerable, or letting someone really support you. I would like to say that this piece around the masculine and feminine lives in all of us. So even a man needs to be held, and even a man has sensitivity and tenderness. When you look in the eyes of your beloved, you feel that. in that moment. And sometimes in your loneliness, you also need to be held. And number 5 is around communication. For men to really be able to articulate a feeling, for example. And how do we do that? We do that because we need to kind of get a sense of what it is we feel. Or to articulate a need. What is it I actually need? I need space, I need time, I need connection. To be able to communicate these things. And sometimes for some men in relationships, they're really challenged in how to communicate, and also challenged in how to have a communication dialogue with their partner, especially if their partner's feeling a lot of feelings and they don't know how to be with their own feelings, so they don't know how to be with their partner's feelings. Often the case is your partner doesn't want you to fix it or come up with some big solution, but rather wants you to hold space for them, be present with them. And actually that does the repair. That creates the connection. So communication's really important, knowing when to communicate, knowing when to also hold space, and also the dialogue you have with yourself, because you speak to yourself more than anyone in this world. And in the deep dive, when I am working with men, I notice that the first thing I need to do is to get their understanding, because they're very top heavy, having come from different backgrounds or different professions, and they often, they have a big mental load in there. And to get them to come to a state of what they feel, what they need, is not easy. So the communication is really key in getting them to understand, okay, what's happening here and why do we need to go below here. And once I get their sort of agreement and understanding, then I'm able to go somatically to the body and do some particular tools and exercises to help them to start to, meet their entire framework. Where they start to breathe and they start to feel oxygen almost like it's going to all parts of their body. This makes a difference because now I've got them, from their head into their body, so they're kind of occupying more of self. And then from there, when they start to breathe and have big breaths and movement, there's a particular structure obviously we go through, then we can start to unlock some of the feelings and the pain body that they carry growing up, maybe never having a true recognition of what love is, or feeling like a parent was really present with them, or in some cases worse, or a somatic registration of what connection feels like. And when that starts to happen, we can slowly go to these places which get locked up inside, and feelings of even just to say, yes, I have been suffering from loneliness for years, or I recognize loneliness, or I carry a weight of depression, or I have other things going on such as anxiety, or I have heartbreak, whatever it might be, that we can start to talk about it in a deeper way now, from here down to here. And then that releases some feelings of grief, loss, despair, heartbreak. And slowly that really helps to repair what's happening internally and regulate your nervous system. And it definitely helps your mental health. And everything starts to settle inside. And what comes with it is this orientation of feeling more aligned, with these parts inside of you. And it gives more space to direction and clarity of what you want in your life, or your next step that you want to take, or who you want to really let in. So it's really important that men do this kind of work for themselves. It's part of our well-being. It's part of our self-care. It's needed and essential if you want a better quality of life, and it affects everything, productivity as well as relationships. So if you liked this video, please share or drop a like, and maybe we see you next week. Thanks for watching.